Salute, Booktube. Welcome to my channel. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you for being here. I thought I would make, well, I want to make a video. I want to make a bunch of videos actually. I've been MIA on Booktube for a couple of weeks, more than a couple of, maybe 3 weeks. And the last videos I made were related to my 1 year anniversary, my reaching 200 subscribers, and my 100 videos. So it was an anniversary that I signed off on, and then I went MIA for about 2 or 3 weeks. But in that time, I got a lot of congratulatory messages from fellow booktubers and viewers and commenters and subscribers. And I also was tagged quite a few times in different tags while I was gone, but I wasn't really on Booktube. I had switched off almost all digital media. So when I got back, I noticed there's a big backlog of stuff, and I wanted to address that. So what I was hoping to do, and I'm hoping to do this until, I hope I can fit it without bombarding you with videos, up until the end of the month, where I will choose one channel that has, or choose, yeah, one channel per video that has supported me. I mean, when I say a channel, a fellow booktuber that has supported me, or who has commented, or who has tagged me, that kind of thing, and just highlight their channel. That's what I want to do. I want to make it like a series, so it'll probably be mostly tag videos, but it'll be a tag video, and it'll be a call for you to check out this booktuber's channel and subscribe to them, because these are friends of mine who stick with me through thick or thin. So with that, I think the first channel I want to highlight, and actually this channel is a bit special. I think I'm going to make 2 videos, because this channel, he tagged me. He made an original tag, and I wanted to make it in one video, but I think I'm gonna do it in 2 separate videos. He tagged me in an original tag that he created, and he made a sort of congratulatory video for me, a short one, but still a very heartfelt one, celebrating my milestones, my 1 year on Booktube, my 200 subscribers, my 100 videos. So I wanted to repay that kindness with a response myself, and to highlight the channel. The channel, of course, is Shelf Learner. Shelf Learner is a good friend. He's become a good friend. He started Booktube, I think in his last video he mentioned he started towards the end of 2025, so still a relatively new booktuber, but definitely one that's growing, and an interesting guy, somebody who reads deeply. He doesn't just read, he's a deep thinker, and that's reflected in the books. And I think that's why we both like each other, because I'm also I like to think I'm a deep reader. I think that's why we like each other's channels, and we have some similarities in reading tastes. And that's what I wanted to do, because he had created a congratulatory video for me, but he had released it, and I'd already traveled, and it was very hard for me to respond. I could have made a response video while I was traveling, but I wouldn't have had this background, and it would have, I don't know, it just didn't feel right. But unfortunately, because I posted my last video while I was I pre-recorded it, because I was and I was releasing them after the fact that I traveled, so it was hard for me. Basically, what I'm trying to say is to respond. So I'm responding now, and I apologize for the I apologize for being late with the reply, but I guess better late than never. So what I thought I would do, because Shelf Learner, he had created a congratulatory video, but it's only 33 seconds long. I mean, his videos sometimes are short. He has 30-second videos sometimes. I usually have 30-minute videos. He has 30-second videos, but it was really heartfelt. So because it's 30 seconds, I thought I would show it. I don't know if it's going to be inverted, but I'm going to show it on my iPad, If I knew how to do like professional editing, I would have added the video somehow here because it's only 30 seconds. But he what he did as a just to give background to the video, what he did as congratulatory was he showed some of the books on his shelf and he said, look how our libraries are so similar. Because I had one of the questions I got in my Q&A, my anniversary, my milestone Q&A, was if your library had burnt down or disappeared or got stolen, whose library would you take to replace your own? And I had mentioned Shelf Learner. And you're gonna see he's put some books that he wants to show that he showed as part of his to show how our reading is so alike. So I'm gonna show you the congratulatory. It's gonna be clear once I show you the video. Once you see it, I'm gonna respond. You'll get what I'm trying to do here. So I'm gonna press play, and I hope this is clear, but we'll give it a try. And if it doesn't, I'll just re-record this, I guess.
This is a congratulations video to my friend Saracen from Salute. He reached a milestone of 100 videos, over 200 subscribers in the past year. Congratulations, Saracen. This is probably one of the fastest videos I ever put together. Just want to show you that our libraries are very similar, and you picked the right animal, the eagle. Way to go, and congratulations, Saracen.
Okay, there you go. Okay, there was some Middle Eastern. The algorithm is giving me some Middle Eastern news videos to watch after that. But uh, yeah, so you saw the video. He just very quick, but very heartfelt. And the length didn't matter. The thought is what mattered. And then he showed a series of books. He showed a series of books, and he had highlighted that our libraries are similar. And then he mentioned at the end about the eagle. That was another. Somebody had asked me in the Q&A, my milestone Q&A, which animal would you be if you could be any animal? I had chosen the eagle because the eagle is an animal, is a bird that is the only bird that doesn't fly in a flock. It goes his own way. So, and I guess he really liked that answer. But because he had mentioned that in the comments too. So again, there's a sort of intellectual connection between me and Shelf Learner. So just to go back now to the you saw Shelf Learner was speaking. But he was also showing books in his library and said how our libraries are similar. So what I wanted to do is go through just one by one, slowly go through the books that he had shown, and then I'll show you how similar our libraries is. So the first book he puts is this one, A History of the Middle Eastern Peoples by Albert Hourani. Okay, just hope the books don't fall. Here it is, right here. I've got the copy right here, Shelf Learner. Well done. You knew I had this book. This is a staple of Middle Eastern history. This is taught if you go to university and you do an introductory course to Middle Eastern history, this is probably going to be your textbook. But it's not academic-y, not too much, definitely not. It's got a lot of, it's quite readable. Yeah, it just goes from the time of the Prophet Muhammad, the coming of the Prophet in the 6th century or the 7th century, up to really the 20th century, really, the middle of the 20th century. The 1967 war, I think, is the last chapter. That 6-day war between the Arab states and Israel. So, staple. This is a good book to have if you're. I've got multiple copies of this actually. If you want one book in your library to say, look, I've read, to show people that you've read on the Middle East, this is a good book to have. Good book to have. So we'll go. I'll mute it just so that it. Okay, so the next book he shows is this one. So the Middle East. Sorry about the glare. The Cradle of Civilization by Dr. Stephen Boak. That's the next one Shelf Learner shows. And I have this book, The Middle East, The Cradle of Civilization by Dr. Stephen Bork, not Book, Bork. And this is a Thames and Hudson. My edition is slightly different than the one that Shovler shows, but it's the same book. And this is, yeah, it's a big picture book. Here's one chapter, From Village to City, and you've got the Middle Eastern sort of, just about Middle Eastern ancient civilizations in the Middle East. This this chapter, that's a hard one to. I picked the hardest chapter to. This one's also hard to pronounce, but Tiglath-Pileser the First, famous, I believe, Assyrian king. I like this book because there's a lot of Mesopotamia here. You'd be tempted with a picture book, a large one, to put a lot of ancient Egypt, because Egypt is ancient Egypt and modern Egypt is much more aesthetically pleasing than Mesopotamia. This is Mesopotamia is just clay ruins, just not very visually stimulating or appealing. But see, you've got a chapter, Nineveh, mentioned in the Bible, if I'm not mistaken. This chapter is called The Eastern Conquests, and there's stuff about Persia, Persepolis. So yeah, again, Shelf Learner. We're 2 for 2 now. Let's go to the next book. The next one is, there it is, The Kingmakers. Sorry, there's there's a few captions below because I've muted it, so captions automatically come. It's a new feature on YouTube. The subtitle for this is The Invention of the Modern Middle East, and it's by Carl E. Mayer and Shireen Blair Brysak. And this book, the number 3, that and this wasn't planned. Shelf Learner just showed these books randomly. Here it is. I got it as well. Kingmaker. Sorry about the glare. It's the plastic. The Invention of the Modern Middle East by Mayer and Brysak, authors of Tournament of Shadows, which I don't know what Tournament of Shadows is about, but I am intrigued because this book is excellent. Tournament of Shadows, the great game in the race for empire in Central Asia. Okay, but this is about again, the subtitle, The Invention of the Modern Middle East, and you can see that there's an Arab king there. I think that's Abdullah the First of Jordan, if I'm not mistaken. But then right behind them, there's the 2 British colonial administrators with their topi hats, and that's what this book is about. So if you see the chapter titles, of course you've got a nice map of the Middle East, but then so the prologue, the ever-growing egg. But if you just look at the chat, because this isn't a narrative, it's more of, if I remember correctly, each chapter is a different subject. So number 1 is the proconsul, Lord Cromer. Chapter 2, the Empire's power couple, Dame Flora Shaw and Lord Frederick Lugard. So here we are talking about the Middle East, but the first 2 chapters, Lord Cromer and then Dame Flora Shaw and her husband, Lord Frederick Lugard, those are European names. They're not even local Arabic people. Chapter 3 is Dr. Wiseman, it's a boy. That's Sir Mark Sykes of Sykes-Picot fame. Again, another Westerner. Chapter 4 is A.T. Wilson. Is this... Okay, wait. Am I... No, yeah, A.T. Wilson. Okay, I'm sorry. Again, Western. Chapter 5 is Gertrude Bell, another Westerner. Chapter 6, T.E. Lawrence, another Westerner. H.S.J.B. Philby is Chapter 7, another Westerner, the father of the famous Kim Philby. Chapter 8 is Glub Pasha. That's an Englishman who was given an Arabic name. General Ironside and the 3 Percys, Sir Cox, Sykes, and Lorraine, Kermit Roosevelt, Miles Copland, Paul Wolfowitz is Chapter 12. So basically, kingmakers are Westerners who made kings in the Middle East, basically just spies and agents of the West in the Middle East, mostly modern Middle East. Yeah, modern 20th century, pretty much the 20th century. So again, Shelf Learner, we're 3 for 3. We're 3 for 3. What's next? Let's see what Shelf Learner. Okay, the next one. Okay, this is where our streak ends. Here's a book by David Hatcher Childress that Shelf Learner shows. Sorry, the glare might not help, but the title is Lost Cities and Ancient Mysteries of Africa and Arabia. This is a subject matter that Shelf Learner is quite, I don't know if expert is the right word, but he's very interested in this. It's his bread and butter. He really likes this subject, and he a lot of his videos he highlights this, and it's basically history of Africa. And Africa, I think, for most readers, even non-fiction readers, let alone or readers, but in general, let alone non-fiction readers, know very little about Africa. At least I do. I'm extremely ignorant, and that's why I'm very appreciative of Shelf Learner, because he's opened my eyes to Africa and the importance of Africa, especially in early history, like early man, and it's a whole stretch of time we know very little about. And so this book, again, I don't have this one specifically, but because it's the lost cities and ancient mysteries of Africa and Arabia, and there is the pyramid in Egypt. I guess that's an apt cover because Egypt is both African and Arab. But I do have, in a similar vein, this is called The Vanished Cities of Arabia. And it's by Mrs. Stuart Erskine. So this is the old, I don't know when, in the 19th century, a woman couldn't put her name on a book, so she'd be Mrs. and then she'd put her husband's name. But this is exactly what this book is about, and it's got very beautiful sketches as well. It's The Vanished Cities of Arabia. If I go through the chapters just really quickly, there's a lot of stuff about these ancient Roman cities, ancient Nabatean or Arab cities, mostly in the Jordan Valley region, and so I see Petra Kerek is here, Jerusalem, which is in nearby Palestine, a lot of stuff on the Dead Sea. It's just that borderland between Rome and the Arabian desert, the Mediterranean and the desert, really from Syria down to Jordan, down to Arabia, or what is now Saudi Arabia. But a lot of, you see the Roman columns, and not exactly like Shelf Learner, so the streak is over, but similar. But what I need to do, and what Shelf Learner has helped me to do, is to look more into Africa. Definitely look more into Africa. I focus more on Arabia because that's where I'm from, that's where I'm based. For those of you who are new, I'm based in the United Arab Emirates, so this is more I don't know, relevant or pertinent for me. But Africa is Mother Africa. It's relevant to us all because we're pretty sure. I mean, I don't think there's any more scholarly debate that the human evolved in Africa. I don't think it's not even a debate anymore. The next one, okay, is another one that does the streak. Okay, now we're 0 for 2. This one is called, next book that Shelf Learner shows, The Crusade Through Arab Eyes by Amin Malouf. I know about this book. We're reading a lot of books about the Crusades. I should have brought the book here because we're in Q2 of Historathon right now. I've been reading a lot of books about the Crusades. I'm very much in the Crusades. This book was famous because it looks at the Crusades through the Islamic or the Arab eyes. And that's important because it played a big part in anti-European sentiment. And that anti-European sentiment really continues from 1,000 years back. Some would argue until today, although, again, that's a controversial statement to make. But so I'm aware of this book, but shock, I've never actually read it. People expect me like, yeah, you should. I'm sure Saracen, with his large Middle Eastern history library, which you see behind me, has this. I haven't seen. I don't own this book, and I haven't read it, so I know that might shock some people. But that being said, I do know of Amin Malouf. I've got some of his fiction, which I couldn't find, but I found this. This is the same author, Amin Malouf, and this is called Disordered World, A Vision for the Post 9/11 World, and that's. This is a much more. This is another nonfiction work by Amin Malouf, and it's the USA and the 9/11 attacks, the sort of the upheavals in the Middle East that has occurred really since 9/11 in the last quarter century, we can say. And then here we can see some American choppers, American military. So this is Amin Malouf, the same writer who wrote about the Crusade through Arab Eyes, just talking about more contemporary Middle Eastern issues. So I am aware of Amin Malouf. I haven't read this book yet, but I should. Um, so yeah, again, close but no cigars. um, let's see what book is next. Okay, the next one. This is a well-known book. This is by Peter Frankopan, and it's called The Silk Roads, A New History of the World. And again, Frankopan takes a Asian view of world history, maybe history through Asia, Central Asia, China, India, that kind of thing, the Middle East. Of course, I've got this book. I have it. Of course, I have it. I haven't read it because speaking of the Crusades, Peter Frankopan also wrote a book called, I think, The First Crusades. And I had that book and I read that book and I did not enjoy it. I just did not like that book. I just didn't. And I got rid of it. And since then, Peter Frankopan, that book, it scarred me. So I'm worried that this big book isn't that good. But I should read it because it's an international bestseller, so or Sunday Times bestseller, excuse me. It's blurred. William Dalrymple says it's brilliant and fearless. This is history on a grand scale. So this is definitely in my alley. Still haven't read it. Should read it. Should give Peter Frankopan a second chance. But we're back. We're back in business. Shelf learner. What's the next book? Let's go. Uh, Lawrence in Arabia. Lawrence in Arabia by Scott. Sorry about the glare. And Scott Anderson. And then the subtitle is War, Deceit, Imperial Folly, and the Making of the Modern Middle East. So another book about the Middle East. Of course I've got this book. Of course, come on. Lawrence of Arabia. Lawrence in Arabia. Scott Anderson. My version is a bit different than Shelf Learner's. Maybe as the American edition. I think this is the British edition. And I believe it's originally British. The British love them. They're Lawrence of Arabia. And this is, just the making of the modern Middle East. Anybody who wants to understand modern Middle East is gonna come through. This character is gonna come in, and he's gonna come early. He plays because he dies in the 1930s, but his legacy continues, and his legacy still played out today. So I make a whole video about Lawrence of Arabia, but I could probably have a whole shelf about Lawrence of Arabia, but. So Shelf Learner, we're back to the streak is back. The streak is back. So what's next? Okay. The next one is he showed is Lord Kinross's The Ottoman Centuries, and I think his well, there's a sticker, but the subtitle is The Rise and Fall of the Turkish Empire. Now this book, I think I have it. I might have it. It might be somewhere buried in that shelf there, where there's you can see a lot of vertical transwise books, because there's just a whole bunch of books that have been stuffed in there, and I didn't want to create a mess and go look at the back because it's double stacked. So I might have this book. I'm not sure, and that's not a good sign that I don't know if I have the book or not. That's not a good sign. That means I have too many books. But this book, I couldn't find it, but I did find very similar subject, same author, Patrick Kinross, who I think is Lord Kinross. I have this book, Ataturk, The Rebirth of a Nation. And Ataturk, for those who don't know, is the founder of the Turkish Republic. After the fall of the Ottoman Empire, there was a carcass of a rump Turkish state on the Anatolian Peninsula, and the Western powers were eyeing it with greedy lust, and they encouraged the Greeks of all people to attack. Take back Istanbul and re-Christian it Constantinople, and it'll be a Christian Western nation. But then Ataturk came, and there was a war against the Greek invasion. The Greeks were pushed back, were driven out of the Anatolian Peninsula. The modern Turkey that you see, that Anatolian plateau, that's all Ataturk, and he's still revered in Turkey. So Shelf Learner, this is a biography, but it's the same guy, Patrick Kinross, Lord Kinross. And his book is about Ottomans. This is just post-Ottoman, but a biography. Although I don't know how good Ottoman Centuries is. Maybe Shelf Learner knows, because I don't. I might have it, but I've definitely not read it. But this wasn't that great. I really didn't enjoy this. Actually, I might get rid of this because it's just not a good biography. There's another biography by Andrew Mango, which I have, which I think was better. Maybe I'll give it a reread before I get rid of it. But although it's a big book, fascinating subject. But what I remember of this wasn't the best biography that's ever been written. So we'll see. We'll see. But close again, close, but no cigars. But you can see the similarities between me and Shelf Learner. So let's see what's the next video, the next book. Excuse me. Okay, there you. This one is a little bit insider baseball: a history of Russia, Central Asia, and Mongolia. Um, Volume 1, and the subtitle is Inner Eurasia from Prehistory to the Mongol Empire. That's by David Christensen, or David Christian, excuse me. So I don't have this book, unfortunately, so we're back to 0 and 2. But the subject is Russia. I did, especially last year, for Historathon last year, I read a lot about the Mongols, the Mongol Empire. But this, I mean, Russia and Mongolia and Central Asia is uh, it's not too far from the Middle East, and it's always definitely the two cultures have influenced each other. The Central Asia is the link between China and the East and the Middle East. It's sort of the in between. But I do have a book that's a similar subject matter. This is called Russia and the Golden Horde. The subtitle is The Mongol Impact on Medieval Russian History. And the author is Charles J. Halperin. So this is the closest I have, but similar topic. I think Shelf Learners is a much bigger. This is a small book, and this is just volume 1. Shelf Learners is only volume 1. Must be a multi. So this is probably a good introduction book. And I know there's other books on this subject. But this is the one that I have. No idea if it's any good, but I have it. Again, close, but no cigars. And then, okay, oops. I just. Oh no. Okay, we'll go to the next book. Just give me a second here. I kind of. Okay, because. Shelf Learner, I'm getting the next book is this one, Ibn Saud, the Desert Warrior Who Created the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, by Barbara Bray and Michael Darlaw. Of course, I have this book. Now, mine is a different edition, but I've got it. Ibn Saud, the Desert Warrior and His Legacy. Okay, even the subtitle is different. So I guess he has the American. This is the British version. These are British authors, especially the lady Barbara Bray. I think she wrote it. I think she passed away. Am I mistaken? I completely forgot, but then it is continued, I believe, by William if I'm not mistaken. If not, I apologize. Anyway, this is an excellent book. The cover that Shelf Learner has is much nicer. Mine is really boring. I don't know why. That's rare. Usually the British editions are nicer than the American editions, but this is just desert and very typical, stereotypical. But this is an excellent book, and this was actually written to be Barbara Bray, who had an interesting story. I think, if I'm not mistaken, she passed away because she committed suicide. She had a lover who cheated on her. She's an interesting character in herself. But Ibn Saud, talking about a character, this is Barbara Bray wrote this like a narrative, almost like a TV series. It was almost like a script, and I think it was done on radio on the BBC. And I think the British found Ibn Saud and the time he was around. He is the inventor of the creator of modern Saudi Arabia, and he did it. He was around in the 20th century, but Saudi Arabia in the early 20th century was something out of medieval England, and I think that's why the British found this so fascinating. At least Barbara Bray found this so fascinating, because it's a story full of medieval exploits, and it was written. This book was written as a to be played as a TV show, as a serial, and somebody should make this a serial. Maybe I would. It should be done in the Middle East. I would definitely plug this because I think Barbara Bray. I think it was done on BBC Radio as a sort of, I don't know. They have these radio in Britain, like history radio what do they call it, like radio plays. I don't know what the word is, but anyway, excellent book, fascinating character. Somebody I should make videos about this book and about Ibn Saud, and that's coming in the future. But again, the streak is back. And then what's the final book? There's one more book that Shelf Learner shows in his very kind congratulatory video. Okay, it's Ibn Khaldun's The Muqaddamah. Again, sorry for the glare. This is is an introduction to history. Oh, this is volume 2 and 3, but I have this edition, Ibn Khaldun, The Muqaddamah. The subtitle, Introduction to History, the Classic Islamic History of the World. But I think this is an abridgment. Uh, um, uh, I know very little about it because I haven't even read it. I haven't read it, I admit. But again, Shelf Learner, I got you. We got the same reading taste. We're almost. I don't know the total count. I think out of, what is it, 12 books, I've got about 7 or 8 that are like yours, and then the others that are not the same, I've got very similar. If it's not the same exact author, it's definitely the same subject matter. So thank you, Shelf Learner. If you haven't checked out his channel, I'm gonna link it below. Of course I am, after his very kind video that he made congratulating me on my milestones. I'm gonna link it below. Please do check it out. Subscribe to him. He's an awesome guy. He's got another. I'm gonna do another video for sure. I'm gonna, like I said in the beginning of the video, I'm gonna do tag videos and mention different booktubers in the coming future videos. But for Shelf Learner, I'm gonna do 2 because he's so kind to do this congratulatory video. He's got a tag video he made. I'm gonna reply to that too in a separate video because this one is too long. See, Shelf Learner made a 33-second video. My video is going to almost 33 minutes. So I'll wrap this up. Check out Shelf Learner's channel. Thank you very much if you made it this far. Salute, Booktube.